could enable building the communities and making the enrichment to the international students' lives. So on the left, you could see myself like around 10 years ago. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, and I got an opportunity to study abroad at some point of time. So I went to Czech Republic, Prague, for a summer for the design academy and studied with students all around the globe, learned a lot about design. It was great to learn from the best, but what was even more great is to hang out with my new peers, is to have occasional coffee breaks, to have fun time after the studies. And that was actually something that stuck with me a lot. So for a lot of you, I assume your student days also kind of remind you about the fun time you had as a student, the life you had that time. And it's not only our subjective feelings, there are a lot of surveys around that, saying that, for example, the study I mentioned here actually reveals that 43% of students, they kind of reported the major reason to attend the university to be the communication, building relationship, that's going to last forever for them. And on the second place, that would be studies. So this kind of suggests that there is a huge opportunity to build a difference around the education by making the social life for students greater. So previously, you should not be looking for these opportunities. You were in campus, you're hanging out with your peers in between of your lessons, but actually with pandemic disruption, it's now kind of a trouble for students who learn online to get to the same level of socialization as they naturally would be if they were studying in the university. So the thing is that the traditional like Zoom and Google Meet kind of platforms are not really enabling students to have this informal communication with peers. So last year, I was with my colleagues in the research trip to India, where we were studying how students and teenagers and young adults from abroad were actually getting to get more fun and delight through their day-to-day life. One of the aspects that we discovered back then was that the key element to fun would be to be in the environment where they're not judged. Very often that would be an environment without adults or teachers. That's where they can strive. That's where they could showcase like their real personality. So that brings me to the big question, which is how can we replicate and even expand the fun, freedom, and social connection for international remote students with all the emerging technologies that we have now in hand? I think that's quite possible. There should be a fun, upbeat music here. But let's watch a video then about some solutions that Meta provides for the VR. Oh yeah, here is the music. So, yeah, as you can see, Meta is building quite a few solutions for the VR environment. That's all about the education, but making it a bit more engaging, a bit more fun. And there are kind of surveys and studies that consistently prove that including VR into your educational experience boosts students' educational engagement and also increases their attention span. So basically they could spend much more time learning about new things rather than just like staring at the book. There are a couple of examples that I really like. So for example, if you are a medical student and you need to continuously see how the operations are going, it's much more convenient to do that in the 3D environment and like looking from different sides how that happens, because it does not require investment from like equipping the whole room, inviting students, etc. Or you are a language student and you are learning French, and traditionally you would like check in a book how like would you order like a coffee in a French bakery. But basically with VR solution you could be immersed into the Paris environment and step into the bakery, order cafe, and just like enjoy it all doing on the language you're studying. So that kind of helps to increase emotional engagement of the students. So besides of the education, as we started with the topic of communication and building communities, there are several points I want to deep dive into about how we can utilize the new emerging solutions to build this sense of connection for students studying remotely. So that could be virtual group activities, virtual co-presence, and also a big aspect for teenagers and young adults would be the enhanced self-expression during their time connecting with their peers. So let's go one by one and start from the virtual group activities. So Quest headset allow you to jump to a lot of different worlds and play games with your peers, which is currently it's the most typical use case for the VR headsets. Basically, you jump and you could do like, for example, here is a Super Rumble game where you could like fight against each other or together. There are plenty of more peaceful solutions such as dancing together or playing chess, whatever would be the interest. So that could kind of go in parallel with the typical student clubs or some activities they would do in a normal offline environment. The next big scene is co-presence. So in July, Meta launched a Horizon Mixed Reality, which is a very special experience, as you could recreate your own room in your VR headset and invite your friends there. So you could hang out there, play some mini games that are kind of part of this experience, or just like chat about what happened on the lecture earlier today. So there are quite a few interesting opportunities here. So what we learned previously from some research trips that fun is not necessarily like a loud fun and communication. Sometimes it's just being with someone. So there are plenty of solutions like watching YouTube in VR. So it's quite different from just like doing it in a separate environment. But when you like at least virtually together with your friends and watching YouTube, you don't need even to communicate. It's already building some memories and bond between you. And the last topic, which is very dear to my heart because that's pretty much what I do in my day-to-day job. I'm working a lot on the avatars product, and we are building the way for people to start expressing themselves in a million different ways through their digital identity. So on the 1st of October, there was actually a big event for Meta called Connect, where we announced a new style of the avatars. Previously, they were quite simple, and now you could create like whatever you want. You could set up like a clothes, you could set up like makeup and hairstyle, or you could create some fantastical avatars. So there are more to come. We're also building solutions where you could just recreate fully the 3D picture of yourself and be present as like fully yourself in the VR environment. So as a student, for me, it was like really important to dress up, to express myself through my style and like making hair every day. That's pretty much what we were missing all in the like remote environment. So these solutions help students to find people they like and to express themselves, like not only through studies but also through their appearance in the digital environments. So that all brings me to the conclusion slide, where I want to reflect on how like the metaverse and new digital solutions could be a big difference and actually enable students to express themselves, build connections that are going to last forever. And for the educational institutions, that could be a big differentiator, as integrating the solutions into day-to-day education process could show that students' emotions and engagement really matters, and that's what could make a new world much better and break the limits of the remote studies. So thank you so much for joining me while we were looking into this future of new digital and education solutions. And I hope we would be able to evolve and integrate these solutions into our day-to-day jobs, into the students' life, to make them thrive in this new evolving world without the limits. Thank you so much.